In my very first video, I told y'all about my tattoo, but I never showed y'all my tattoo. It means virtuous in Chinese symbols. But guess what the deeper meaning is? And no, it doesn't mean shrimp egg foo young with extra gravy on the side. In 2013, my bestie decided we should probably get some tattoos. She had several. I had none. Why? Because your girl does not like needles at all. I don't like blood draws. I don't like shots. I don't like bee stings. And I don't do mosquitoes. So why would I elect to let somebody use a needle for the sake of art? But I did. I said, okay, I'll go for it. I said, let me start looking around to see what I wouldn't mind getting. And she was like, you need to get something that you love and that you want to keep for forever. I started thinking, oh, you know what? I love Chinese symbols. I started looking around at the Chinese symbols and what I wouldn't mind getting. Decided to pray. I prayed about what should I get. I believe the Lord led me to the word virtuous. I didn't really know what virtuous meant. So I was like, well, let me at least look it up so I know what I got on me. So I looked up virtuous, and it means somebody who has done what they ought to do or done something correctly. I was like, I'm still a mess. And you want me to get the word virtuous tattooed on me? I was like, God, mm-mm. But I started looking at the symbols and I was like, oh, it is pretty. It's pretty written. So I went on and opted to get virtuous in Chinese symbols. Now, I know a whole lot of you super duper disciples have alarms and bells and sirens that just went off because I said, I feel like the Lord led me to get this because a lot of people think they have found scripture that biblically proclaims why you should not get tattoos or ink. And I get it. I understand a lot of y'all don't believe that you should be getting ink or tattoos on your body. You believe it's a sin in the Old Testament. And I get it. I understand. I completely understand. However, let me warn you, there's some Old Testament stuff I'm sure a lot of you are doing and you don't have a problem with it. But let's just examine it. People eating pork. hmm Some of y'all like tendernism. Y'all going down to the destination smokehouse. I don't know where it's at, but some of y'all are enjoying both pig and cow. A lot of y'all are. Did you say anything about that? What about shellfish? That's Old Testament too. But I bet you $1 million. A lot of y'all find your way to Red Lobster on the, what is it, the Crab Fest times, the Lobster Fest. And that I know of, they got a whole deal that goes on every week for the shrimp. It's all shellfish. You got a problem with that? No. And we all know that before time began, the Lord said, do not have sex before marriage, right? But a lot of y'all shacking up, ain't you? A lot of you have done the do, currently doing the do. You're not abstaining. And what about you married folks? Are you having intercourse on your menstrual cycle? Because that's Old Testament too. So it's just that we're sharing, and I don't mind a conversation here back and forth, but I just want you to understand if the ink is wrong, so is the pork, the tendernism, so is the shellfish at Red Lobster, so is the sex before marriage and sex while you're on your cycle. Okay, now back to the story. It was not as painful as I expected. Now, somebody that was getting a tattoo before it was my turn, they actually had me a little concerned. I was worried about it. They were gripping and grabbing their little butt cheeks and whatnot. It was just, I was terrified. And this is a man. He was in pain. I don't know what the dude did. I don't know if it's because of the area or what, but he was in pain. I was terrified. I was ready to turn around, but I went through with it. And my guy was awesome. He was sweet. And mine was done in what, less than maybe 10 minutes, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's little, so it didn't take him any time. I was very pleased with it. I was very happy in 2016, I believe. So either way, I was doing some research and I was like, let me read Virtuous. So I started reading it and I learned that it has a way deeper meaning than what I explained to you earlier. So I'm gonna read it to you. It says, having or characterized by moral virtue, righteous, chaste, said of a woman, morally chaste. I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I only saw a little bit of that definition, just a little bit, just so I could hurry up and find something to put on my body. Not knowing that God was speaking into my future, not knowing that God had already spoke into existence who I was becoming. And I didn't know I was becoming this. Like I said, I didn't plan on staying abstinent. 6 months was it, and I was back to bobbing and weaving, sticking and moving. That was going to be me. I think the Lord is amazing. A lot of times we all label ourselves. We call things into existence that we shouldn't be because we've not consulted the Lord. I didn't even consult him, but he told me he was already letting me know that he was laying the groundwork. But I didn't see it. I didn't believe it. I didn't trust the process. But something in me clicked that day when I read that definition. He called me virtuous before I knew I was virtuous, before I realized I was practicing the depths of what that word meant. The Lord had already called into existence who I was, and He did it right before my very eyes. When He does show you those little glimmers, those little tidbits to let you know, hey, you're on the right track, it is beautiful. It made me feel great. It confirmed what I've been doing and that I'm not doing this in vain. I don't know if I just needed to see something at that point. I was like a stickler with it back then. But now I'm like, I'm more relaxed, more comfortable, more poised, more confident. The Lord speaks to us in many different ways. Sometimes it's in a puzzle, sometimes it's in scripture, sometimes it's through people. Mine was through a tattoo and later a couple of definitions. I am saying this because a lot of people, they don't know who they are and they're looking to the world to tell them who they are. So if you'll just get somewhere and calm down and think and breathe, He will tell you who you are. The point is, are you listening? And when you hear Him, do you listen? So if you've enjoyed this